Failure is a word that carries so much weight. For many, it feels like the end of the road, a final judgment on their abilities and potential. But failure is not the end. In fact, it is one of the most powerful teachers you will ever encounter. Every failure carries a lesson, a seed of wisdom that has the power to propel you forward if you're willing to learn from it. The greatest achievers in history, the people we admire and look up to, are not those who avoided failure. They are the ones who embraced it, who learned from it, and who used it as a stepping stone to success. The truth is, failure is not something to be feared, it's something to be understood. It is a natural part of growth, of progress, and of success. If you are afraid to fail, you will never take risks. You will never step outside your comfort zone, and you will never discover just how far you can go. Failure is not the opposite of success, it is a part of it. Every failure you encounter brings you one step closer to your goals, as long as you choose to see it that way. One of the biggest mistakes people make is allowing failure to define them. They see failure as a reflection of their worth, their intelligence, or their capabilities. But failure is none of those things. It is simply feedback. It is like saying, "This didn't work, but here's what you can learn from it." The problem isn't failing, the problem is refusing to learn from failure. If you approach every setback with curiosity instead of shame, you'll start to see failure for what it really is, an opportunity. Every successful person you know has failed more times than they can count. They faced rejection, disappointment, and loss. But they didn't stop. They didn't let failure define their story. Instead, they used it to refine their approach, to grow stronger, and to come back better prepared. When Thomas Edison was asked about his failures while inventing the light bulb, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of someone who understands that failure is not a roadblock, it's a redirection. You have to stop seeing failure as a personal flaw and start seeing it as a necessary part of growth. Failure teaches you resilience. It teaches you patience. It teaches you humility. It shows you where your weaknesses are so that you can turn them into strengths. But none of that happens if you let failure break you. You have to face it head on, analyze it, learn from it, and then keep moving forward. The most dangerous thing about failure isn't the failure itself, it's the fear of failure. Fear of failure can paralyze you, keep you stuck, and prevent you from even trying. But think about this: if you never try, you've already failed. The only way to guarantee failure is to not take action at all. So why not take the risk? Why not give it your all, knowing that even if you fail, you'll walk away with a lesson that will make you better, smarter, and stronger. When you fall, and you will fall, don't let that moment become your story. Let it become a chapter in your journey, a lesson that propels you forward. You can't rewrite the past, but you can decide how you respond to it. Every time you fail, you have a choice. You can let it define you, or you can let it refine you. Choose the latter. Choose to grow, to improve, and to rise above the disappointment. Failure also teaches you about yourself. It reveals your character, your perseverance, and your willingness to keep going even when things are tough. Anyone can keep moving forward when everything is going well, but true strength is shown in how you respond when things fall apart. Do you give up, or do you stand back up and try again? Your response to failure says more about you than the failure itself ever could. One of the most important lessons failure teaches us is that perfection is an illusion. No one gets it right every time. No one has all the answers. And that's okay. You don't need to be perfect to make progress. You just need to be willing to learn, adapt, and keep going. Every failure brings you one step closer to success, because every failure eliminates one wrong path and gets you closer to the right one. It's also important to understand that failure isn't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it feels like a whisper in the back of your mind telling you that you're not good enough. But no matter how failure shows up in your life, the principle remains the same: it's not the end. You have to keep moving forward. Progress isn't always linear. Sometimes it's messy, unpredictable, and slow. But forward is forward, no matter how small the steps may be. Resilience is built in moments of failure. It's built when you get up after falling down, when you refuse to let disappointment become defeat. Resilience isn't about never failing, it's about always rising. It's about having the courage to face failure with open eyes and an open heart, knowing that it's not the end of your story. So what do you do after you fail? You reflect, you learn, and you adjust. You ask yourself, what can I do differently next time? What lesson is this failure trying to teach me? And then you take that lesson and you apply it. You use it to become smarter, stronger, and more capable. Every failure is a stepping stone, a building block on your path to success. You have to trust the process. Success is not an overnight achievement. It's the result of countless failures, lessons, and moments of perseverance. It's about showing up consistently, even when you're tired, even when you're frustrated, and even when it feels like nothing is working. Because every step you take, every failure you learn from, brings you closer to your goal. Don't let failure make you bitter. Let it make you better. Don't let it close you off from opportunities. Let it open you up to new possibilities. Failure isn't the enemy. Fear of failure is. And the only way to overcome that fear is to face it, to take risks, and to remind yourself that failure is not final. You have so much potential within you. You have dreams, goals, and talents that the world needs, but you'll never reach them if you let the fear of failure hold you back. So take the leap. Try, fail, learn, and try again. Every failure is a lesson, and every lesson brings you closer to the life you dream of. Keep moving forward, no matter how many times you stumble, because the only true failure is giving up, and you are not someone who gives up. You are someone who rises, who learns, and who keeps moving forward. Failure is one of life's greatest teachers. It's something we all experience, yet so many of us fear it, avoid it, and let it define us. But failure isn't the end of the road. It's just a detour, a temporary setback on the path to success. When you fail, you're given a choice. You can let the setback stop you, or you can use it as fuel to move forward. The concept of failing forward is about taking every setback, every disappointment, and every fall, and using it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to come back stronger. Life is not a straight path. It's full of twists, turns, obstacles, and moments where you'll stumble and fall. But the difference between those who succeed and those who give up is how they handle those moments. Success isn't about avoiding failure, it's about learning how to fail well. It's about embracing failure as a necessary part of growth and refusing to let it define you. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than they can count. The difference is, they didn't stop. They didn't let failure become their story. They let it become their lesson. When you fail, it's easy to feel ashamed, embarrassed, or even hopeless. But failure isn't a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of your effort. It means you tried. It means you put yourself out there and took a risk. And in a world where so many people are afraid to even start, that's something to be proud of. Failure isn't the enemy, fear of failure is. Fear keeps you stuck, keeps you small, and keeps you from realizing your potential. But when you learn to fail forward, fear loses its grip on you. Failing forward is about shifting your mindset. Instead of seeing failure as a stop sign, see it as a stepping stone. Every time you fall, you have the chance to get back up, dust yourself off, and try again, this time with more knowledge, more experience, and more resilience. The most successful people in the world didn't get there because they avoided failure. They got there because they refused to let failure stop them. When you fail, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What went wrong, and how can I improve? These are the questions that turn setbacks into comebacks. Reflection is a crucial part of failing forward because it allows you to extract the lessons from your experiences. Failure without reflection is wasted, but failure paired with reflection becomes one of your greatest assets. We often look at success stories and only see the highlight reel. We see the achievements, the awards, and the victories, but we don't see the countless failures that came before them. Behind every success story is a trail of setbacks, rejections, and obstacles. But those moments are not weaknesses, they are proof of perseverance. They are the moments where character is built, resilience is forged, and determination is tested. Failing forward is also about taking responsibility. When you fail, it's easy to blame others, blame circumstances, or make excuses. But growth begins when you own your mistakes and take responsibility for your part in them. This isn't about self-blame or guilt, it's about empowerment. When you take responsibility, you take control. You acknowledge that you have the power to change, to improve, and to move forward. One of the most powerful things about failure is that it humbles us. It reminds us that we are human, that we are not perfect, and that we are all a work in progress. But humility isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the ability to say, I messed up, but I'm going to make it right. It's the ability to grow, to adapt, and to keep moving forward, no matter how many times you fall. It's important to remember that failure is not final. It's not a permanent state, it's a moment in time. And what you do with that moment determines what happens next. Do you give up, or do you get up? Do you let the setback define you, or do you use it as a stepping stone to something greater? The choice is always yours. You have everything you need to turn your setbacks into comebacks. You have resilience, courage, and the ability to learn from every failure. So don't fear failure. Embrace it, learn from it, and most importantly, keep moving forward. Because the only true failure is giving up, and you are far too strong to ever let that happen.